Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Yeah. I was too focused on slipping a burp past the goalie and during the intro in the show.
Get that always away.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, come on.
All right, welcome everyone to the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports or slip a burp past the goalie. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name's Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts. To my right is a man who set up his own room for the draft. However, on Thursday, he was not drafted. Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
You know, I don't understand it. I'm like Jay Buhner. I got a rocket for an arm. Does anyone remember that Seinfeld reference? I don't know, but I always liked it. I knew you would remember. You remember everything. Hey, if you want to win at trivia, get Ryan and my Uncle Al on your trivia team. You'll be unstoppable, okay? And then, you know, I'm good at some stuff, the categories, some of it, it's terrible. But I am fired up. We got a lot to talk about today. And the highlights of my Saturday morning starts right now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I tried to stay up late last night to watch the Devils game. That's right, Devils. But I woke up this morning to find that they won 3-2 in double overtime. The first double overtime game of the playoffs. The Devils won it. Shimon Nemec comes through. And I guess I learned later that the Devils play with only 5 defensemen. I'm like, how do you play with 5 defensemen?
Wow.
God almighty. Like, somebody get hurt during the game.
Yeah.
But, I'll have to read into that more, but they won. They're down 2-1 in the series, and they needed to get this one at home to stay alive. So last week's show, I had Brent from 1420. Shout out to him. I know he's probably listening or watching right now, because this is usually one of his Saturday routines is to have a cup of coffee and watch some No Credentials Required. So Brent, if you're listening, shout out to you, pal. We talked about the Devils. Maybe the series would be going with 2 ways. There would be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, or Devils would win in 7. So right now, one of those 2 things, the gentleman's sweep or Devils winning in 7, might happen. So
yeah.
I'm in a good mood this morning, my friends. How about yourself?
I am in a good mood as well. My Oilers, much like your Devils, they're still alive. They needed this win, and they got it. They scored 2 goals in the span of about 10 seconds to tie the game on the first and take the lead on the second. So I was not expecting it, because I listened to the episode that Brent was on, and you guys did a great job breaking everything down. And you said, I think you both said, if memory served, you said the Oilers have beaten the Kings, and I think this is the year that they don't. I think the Kings get past the Oilers. And, you know, as much as it pained me as an Oilers fan, I have to agree with you. I still don't think the Oilers get past the Kings, but hey, we can always hope, right? They're still alive.
I mean, we talked about it in the green room how Calvin Pickard came in because Stuart Skinner can't stop a beach ball right now.
Yeah, well,
And
Brent,
we talked about
Brent did not have kind words for Skinner or anyone who's ever played goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that was that was.
He cannot even stop beach ball. If you know the reference, drop it in the comments. But they brought in Calvin Pickard, and he did his job, and the Oilers offense did their job, and they won 7-4. So, and I think I told you I said in the green room that Calvin Pickard was brought in Game 4. Actually, he played in relief in Game 3 of the Vancouver series last year when Stuart Skinner wasn't doing his job.
Yeah,
and Calvin Pickard started Game 4 and won that game, which basically, no pun intended, saved their season. So both our teams won last night. Our hockey teams won last night, so I'm in a good mood. Montreal, you have to watch. Oh my gosh, it was crazy in Montreal. Did you watch the bench fight?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Then I saw the guy on the Capitals doing all the crying and stuff.
That's Tom Wilson.
He was
That's
really,
Tom Wilson.
He was really getting after it.
He was doing his best Kevin Bieksa impression again.
And
drop reference in the chat if you know what I mean.
And then I was at my buddy Derek's having dinner last night, and he's a big Devils fan like you are. Nice. And he goes, he looks over. He was feeding one of his sons dinner, trying to get him to eat. You know, it's always tough to get a 3-year-old to eat sometimes, but. He looks over and he goes, "Is that?" And he said the name of who it was, and then he goes, "That guy's I'll censor it." He goes, "That guy's a piece of garbage." Like, he did not say garbage though.
No, I can imagine what he said. All right, we've got kind of I wouldn't say a loaded lineup, but we got some plenty of things to talk about in this Saturday brunch. We're going to do our usual hot food takes. We're going to draft our respective football team's performance in the NFL draft for rounds 1 through 3. We're talking about the Albany Firebirds putting the Corpus Christi Titans to sleep last night.
Oh man.
I won't tell you the score right now, but you'll find out. And we'll also talk about MSG Network avoiding bankruptcy, and we'll also reveal our favorite athletes to wear the number 29. But in the meantime, before we get to everything, we just want you to please follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Search for No Credentials Required. Also, check out our other podcasts and written articles on bellyupsports.com. Also, on the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also, don't forget to hit that notification button. Get yourself notified on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when live shows go up, when show announcements go up, when video clips go up. You'll be informed. You'll be informed. On the podcast side, rate, review, comment. 5-star rating is always helpful. Leave a review where you can. And also on Spotify, if you're subscribed and you're a regular listener on Spotify, leave a comment in the comment section. You can leave a comment on the most recent episode. You can also leave a comment on past episodes. So if you want to listen to the archives, leave a comment. We'll even read it on the air. And because we're a live show, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, although we're a skosh late today, that's on me, of course.
And me.
And we are also a live show on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, although we may be moving to Mondays fairly soon. We'll give you that heads up when it happens. But in the meantime, we are a live show. We see some comments rolling in already. So, Dustin, there's a particular time in my watch that doesn't exist. It's telling me something.
I hear it. I hear it in the distance. It's chimes. Could it mean chime time?
Very possibly so. And I'll read some of the comments that have already come in. Kevin Wilson, fellow Seahawks fan, part of the Seahawks sessions, part of Belly Up Fantasy Sports, all around good guy. Kevin Wilson saying, "Morning, fellas. Morning to you, sir." He also says the Stars finally won a hockey game. They're up 2-1 with Game 4 tonight against the Colorado Avalanche. And that was one of the series that we also had our eye on Brent and I had on last week. James saying Rogers Place crowd went from furious to ecstatic after the initial review of Kane's goal. I'll have to look at the highlights later.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I can't stay up as late as I used to. These 10:30 Oilers starts are killing me, man.
It's tough to be a West Coast hockey fan in the East Coast. And Jersey G coming in saying, "Hi guys, hi Jersey G, good to see you in the chat." All right, we're gonna start with the Saturday tradition. That again, we gotta give credit to our friend Kevin Wilson giving us this idea. Oh, wait, hold on. We have, hang on. I didn't play the right thing. Hang on. It's time for hot food takes.
It's not hot food takes unless we get that disturbingly crazy burger. We love it.
There's seed oils in that burger, from what I hear. And apparently, according to some people, seed oils are evil. But look, don't overeat on food with seed oil. So we'll just say that. Also got red dye 40 in there. Just now also did. Anyway, hot food takes. Dustin gave me this idea a couple weeks ago after the show. Actually, you know what? Why don't you say that what our idea is for hot food takes this week?
Well, for hot food takes, this one's going to be a little different. It's not going to be a power ranking that we've done. It's not going to be a versus that we've done. And I just started thinking, you know what, Ryan? We're both men of food. We're men. I would say you're more of a man of culture than I am. I can be a cretin, but I started thinking. I said, if I know, because we talked a little bit about Montreal on the show, so I might be spoiling it. And I know it's one of your favorite places, but when we were talking about Montreal, I was like, you know what? There's a restaurant there that a lot of people would like to try, and it's very hard to get into. So I said, what if we did our top 3 restaurants that we would like to go to that we haven't been to yet? And I realized when I was putting my list together, I'm an uncultured swine because all these restaurants are located in the good old US of A, but it's because there's large parts of the country that I still haven't visited yet or haven't been to yet. So the genesis, our top 3 restaurants that we'd like to go to that we haven't been to. So there it is.
All right. So since you came up with the idea, why don't you go ahead and start?
All right. Gladly. Thank you, sir. I will go in descending order.
Okay.
So, and I struggled with 2 of these on this list, where to place them. There's also places, there's bars I want to go to. There's restaurant. There's so many that I had trouble narrowing it down to 3, but I got there to what I believe is my top 3. And I know I'm going to be mad that I missed some. But coming in at number 3 is Jimmy's Famous Seafood in Baltimore.
Hey.
I would love to go to Jimmy's Famous Seafood, and apparently sometimes they have comedy there. So I was like, I'd go there for a comedy show. But the seafood there is supposed to be amazing. I know there's a lot of people that are not fans of seafood, but I am a fan of seafood if it's the right kind. I love me some lobster. I love me some crab in the right circumstances. I used to work at a seafood department, so I can get down on some fish. Yeah, I've heard good. There's things to do in Baltimore. So say less of the seeing an Orioles game. I knew I was going to do that. And there's also supposed to be a pretty awesome aquarium in Baltimore. So I would want to check that out. But I want to grab a bite to eat at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. The atmosphere sounds cool.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do they serve fugu?
Oh, I don't know if they serve fugu, and if they do, I do
if
not
you know the
have
reference.
the
Drop it
courage.
in the chat.
I do not have the courage to try it, so I'm not. I don't want to pick up a pamphlet that says "So you're about to die." Okay, that's not something I want to do.
You're not. So you're telling me you're not in the mood to listen to James Earl Jones narrate the Bible?
Yeah. I can't remember. Was it James Earl Jones or was it Larry King?
It was Larry King.
Yeah, Larry King. But so that comes in at number 3. I'd like to check that out very much. Number 2, this is where I struggled. I struggled where to put And I think part of it is maybe the season that's coming up. It could be spoiling for my number one, but number two, after much deliberation, is Joe Beef in Montreal.
Hey.
I have heard so many things about Montreal and Joe Beef. Specifically, I first found out about Joe Beef from a podcast that I listened to, and I've shouted them out many times in 2025 already. But on the Kind of Funny podcast, Greg Miller was talking about going to Joe Beef because his wife originally from Montreal, so they go to Canada a lot when they see her family and stuff. And he was talking about how there was this seasoning that Joe Beef used, and he bought the seasoning to try to replicate, some Joe Beef dishes and stuff. But he was saying how amazing it was. And then at Derek's bachelor party was in Montreal, and we did a bunch of things. And his best man was like, "Hey, I'm going to get us a reservation at Joe Beef." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure their waiting list is months long. Like, when did you call?" And he's like, "Oh, I haven't yet." And I was like, "You better call now." And so he called. It was like a couple weeks out, and the lady laughed at him, like just straight up laughed at him. But I really want to try Joe Beef. It sounds amazing. I want to go. And I know you're always up for a trip to Montreal. So maybe one of these times, a no credentials required dinner at Joe Beef, So that's my number two. I almost put it at number one because I really want to go there. But then this morning, and I think it's part of the season, my number one is Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas. I want to go. I want to taste some of what Aaron Franklin offers. He's the best in the business. I was given a book by Amanda a couple of years ago about Aaron Franklin's. When I bought my smoker, she bought me the book, and she said, "Hey, hopefully you can use this to learn some things." And if you've ever seen the movie Chef, he makes a cameo in there. They go to get meat from him in Texas. They go to get brisket, I think it is. And man, ever since I saw that in that movie, I have become fascinated with the idea of going there. And apparently you got to get there early. People start lining up at 6 a.m. or so. But man, I really want to check that out. I know there's so many that I missed, but it is what it is. And with that, I turn it over to you. But I think number one spot was influenced by the fact that I'm very shortly going to be using my own smoker, and I'm just in that mood right now.
Okay. I don't have an order to this, but I'll just give three restaurants that I would love to go to. The first one being Leal in New York City. And the reason why Leal came up on my list is because I loved Anthony Bourdain when he was still around with us. I loved his shows, No Reservations, which was part of the inspiration for the title of this show.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Also, the one he did with CNN. I can't remember
was
the
that
name
was that Parts Unknown or something?
Parts Unknown? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I also listened to his book Kitchen Confidential, which was about his autobiography or a memoir growing up in New Jersey. That's right. Anthony Bourdain's from New Jersey, one of the greats. All the greats are from New Jersey. But he grew up in New Jersey. Was kind of dissatisfied with the life that he was growing up in modern suburbia. Was always an adventurous eater. Like when he would go to a restaurant when he was a kid, like he would shock his parents with the most outrageous item that he would find on the menu because he just wanted to try it. Like I remember he remembers ordering oysters when he was like 8. And his parents were like, "Are you crazy?" And he tried them and he's like, "I love this stuff." So, but what goes from his career into being a line cook, his summers in Rhode Island, being a line chef there, and then being a line chef in New York City for some dump restaurants before landing at Leal in Manhattan and becoming one of the chefs there, which kind of parlayed into a briefly live television series on Food Network, which parlayed into the Travel Channel, which parlayed to CNN and other things. But I remember his episode where 12 years removed from being in the kitchen in Leal, he jumped on the line. And I was like, I would love to go to Leal just because it's just it's a restaurant I want to go to. And he brought in his friend, I forgot his name. He's one of the best French chefs in the world. He made him work steaks for the night. And the guy was smiling from ear to ear. So I'm gonna look that up right now. Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. I have to say, I feel like you already did more prep for this than I did, but
no, I just had a bunch of like
stuff.
Only one I looked
in there.
I had two in mind, but one I looked up. I had to look up.
Okay.
Eric Repair. He brought in Eric Repair from one of the best chef restaurants in the world. He made him go on the line and cook steaks. And Eric Repair was like, what the hell? He's smiling. Like he should be suffering. Usually his kitchen is all quiet and it's world class. And he's in a manic kitchen where people are looking at him through the window and he's just smiling and having fun. And I was like, it's like, suck it, Bourdain. But Leal is I've just been fascinated with that restaurant. I've always wanted to go and check it out. It's in New York City, so it's a nice 3-hour plus drive. So
yeah,
hop down there and maybe take the train and hit that up. Second restaurant I want to go to, another Montreal restaurant. It is Pied du Cochon, and that is owned by Martin Picard. And if you don't know who Martin Picard is, he's nuts.
He's Jean-Luc's brother. No,
he's Jean-Luc's. Well, I think he's Jean-Luc's great grandfather. No, Martin Picard is this mad genius, and again, the reason why I know about him is because of Anthony Bourdain. Those are reservations.
Okay. Yep.
Where in his episode, when he goes to Quebec, when he goes to Montreal, the first one, the second one being on Parts Unknown when he goes to Quebec, and actually Martin Picard serves him beaver. Yes, actual beaver. But in Martin Picard style, he's basically serving him. He said to his chef, so Anthony Bourdain's here tonight. Just keep feeding him until he dies. And he's just, everything's coming out of the kitchen. But like Pied du Cochon is one of those restaurants I want to try just because of the fact that everything looks decadent. It's ridiculously decadent. And also Martin Picard was also featured in an episode of Somebody Feed Phil, where his Sugar Shack, because he has a Sugar Shack restaurant where he just has his own maple farm. It's maple trees everywhere. His own where it distills his own maple syrup. Although it would have to be in the winter, and winter has grown. I'm getting tired of winter.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I want to go up to Montreal, Quebec in the winter. I've been to Montreal, Quebec in the winter. It's, man, you got to be tough to survive that winter.
Oh yeah.
And this one, the third one I just looked it up this morning because I've gotten into Matty Matheson over the past, probably say about 6 months or so. I have his book Soup Salad Sandwiches. I bought it because it's based on his Soup Salad Sandwiches series. And I actually tried one of his sandwiches. I actually tried his meatball minestrone, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It fed me for 3 days.
Oh, nice.
It was that good of a soup. But he's got his own restaurants situated in Toronto. He's got one in the Maritimes. He's got one, I think he's partnering with one in Chicago. But there's one in particular that I want to go to. It's called Rizzo's House of Parm. And as you may have guessed, it's an Italian restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're saying to yourself, Ryan, one of your top 3 restaurants to go to is an Italian restaurant?
One
Yes.
almost made my list, I'll tell you.
Because it's my list.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mhm.
But no, I'm a big fan of Matty Matheson. Again, another short drive across the border. But he serves Italian style meals, chicken parm, eggplant parm, veal shrimp, chicken piccata. He makes pasta. He's got his own desserts, tiramisu, cannolis, affogato, salads, and his own kids menu, which is named after some of his kids. Rizzo is one of his daughter's names. Ozzy is another. He has three kids: MacArthur, Ozzy, and Rizzo. And they're all, and at least one menu item is named after his kids. So Ozzy and Rizzo, they have their own name on the kiddo menu, kiddies menu. So he's also got a chef's menu where it's $69 per guest. Nice. With a premium wine pairing and a super pairing. So I suspect it's probably just a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. That's actually reasonable for stuff like that, you know.
And it's 69 Canadian dollars, so that's like $10 American.
Oh
So,
man.
I kid. But that's one of the restaurants I want to go to. An Italian restaurant is on my list. And again, it's my list.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, get your own.
Yeah.
Kevin saying I would like to hit up Benihana at some point in my life. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this based on the Office episode where was it Michael, Jim, Andy, and Dwight all go to Benihana to cheer Michael up after his breakup with Carol for the Christmas party?
Perhaps, you know, you never know. But I will say, your list is a good list. You got some heavy hitters on there.
It's a solid list too, man. I mean,
barbecue.
I didn't think barbecue. I was like,
I didn't. That just hit me this morning. I was like, you know what, dude, Franklin barbecue, dude. But I will say, Anthony Bourdain. I listened to his book, Kitchen Confidential. And that is a recent memory for me. I listened to it a few years ago where I was driving back very early in the morning to go to work from Springfield, Mass. And it was kind of like a drizzly morning, you know, and it was gloomy. And I listened to him talk about, I think it was the oysters that he ate and just how much he loved it. And the way he described it, I was like, man, this guy's passion for food. Like, I don't know if I'm this passionate about anything, but it was very inspiring to hear him talk about that. It's a great book. If you ever worked in the service or food industry at any point, some of it's going to hit home with you. And just to hear about his journey through the culinary life, it's very good. So check it out if you haven't.
Yeah. And let's talk about the struggles with drugs. And I know he, I think he had a heroin and a cocaine addiction.
I think so.
If I remember correctly.
Something
And
like that.
unfortunately, we lost him in 2017, I want to say. But,
I think so.
But, you know, entertaining guy, had dark sense of humor, which I appreciate because I have a little bit of a dark sense of humor myself. But yeah, it was just, the guy was just just a very entertaining guy, and a very, very, he's very harsh. He's very critical, especially if you watch Top Chef. Like Anthony Bourdain was the guy who every chef contestant on the show would just absolutely dreaded because he would rip you apart. He's like Simon Cowell. He was like the Simon Cowell that's the culinary world.
Dude, I was going to make that reference, so you beat me to it.
Beat you to it in your head. So yeah, if you got a restaurant you've always wanted to go to, drop in the comments, both live and on the replay on the Belly Up YouTube channel. You know, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you as to which restaurant you've always wanted to go to. No, it's not fast food. It's not. Although, you know, again, it's your list. If you want to put a
let's not yuck anybody's yum here.
We're not going to yuck anybody's yum. Yeah, In-N-Out. I've always wanted to try In-N-Out.
Me too, man. Me too.
Never
And
been
I've never had Shake Shack.
Shake Shack's coming soon.
Yeah, we're getting one in Stuyvesant
getting one in
Plaza,
Stuyvesant
man.
Plaza.
I'm
Yep.
going. And Jersey G, I'm specifically interested. What's your favorite place to get pork roll? Drop it in the chat.
Called Taylor Ham. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had to.
And that's been this edition of Hot Food Takes. We got some more comments in the comment section. James saying, I'm fine as a West Coast hockey fan. Overnight work for the win.
Yeah.
And Julie says good morning. And she also says she's always wanted to go to Sonic.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
I
have a story about Sonic, but it involves
I know
Dustin's
the
sister.
Story. I know the story. Oh,
but
man.
We'll say that for another time. Jersey G says, any place in South Jersey, really, but I'm cooking some pork roll at the house right now. Oh, man, we're on our way. Let's go. And North Jersey, too. North Jersey also has Taylor, whichever you call it, ham. I call it ham because it's because it's Northern Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
She calls it pork roll because she's from South Jersey, and South Jersey people root for Philadelphia teams. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
grading our team's drafts. Yes, the NFL draft, which we haven't really covered on this show because we are not that too much into doing the draft. We're not nerds. We are nerds, but we're not that nerdy about football. We have other sports we cover on here, but our respective teams has gone through rounds 1 through 3 of this year's NFL draft. And we're going to grade our team's drafts so far. Rounds 4 through 7 is today. It goes by pretty quickly. So I'm going to start with my New York Football Jets. And they have the 7th overall pick. And there is one of two ways I suspected them they're going to go. Tyler Warren from Penn State was on the board at 7. The Jets need a game-breaking tight end because they want to fit it into the system that Aaron Glenn is going to bring over. I suspect some of those elements from the Detroit Lions, their offensive scheme will probably go into this New York Jets team. So I saw them going maybe tight end. I also saw them going maybe tackle because they need because Morgan Moses left the team in free agency, which I was sad about because he was one of the anchors of the offensive line this past season, and one of the most consistent ones out there. So he left the team. I think he turncoated and signed with the Patriots. If I'm not mistaken.
No.
Yeah. Oh well. But they surprised me by going with right tackle, and they picked up one of the highest rated. I think the highest rated right tackle in the draft by selecting Armand Membou from the Missouri Tigers, which is a curious pick to me because when I was watching one of the local watering holes on Thursday. By the way, don't go to Buffalo Wild Wings on the night of the draft.
Oh, that had to be tough in there.
I tried to get a seat at the bar, and it was an hour and a half wait.
Yeah.
Because I walked in, and the kid says, "Oh, table for one." I said, "No, I was just going to sit at the bar." And he told people in front of me it was a 2.5 hour wait for a table.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, "No, I just want to go to the bar." And he said, "It's an hour and if bar's full, it's an hour and a half wait." I'm like, I'm going back home. So I actually went back to my one of the local watering holes in town here. So I'm watching this draft, and Cam Ward's drafted first. I heard about the trade between Jacksonville and Cleveland, which is a huge trade because Jacksonville sent their number 1 for this year, and they're sending a number 1 for next year's draft to Cleveland, which tells me a couple things. Either Jacksonville really wanted Travis Hunter that bad, or Cleveland is rebuilding.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of both. I do think Jacksonville really wanted Travis Hunter. I mean, he's a local guy from Florida. I don't know if he lived in in that area, but he's a Florida guy, that I know. And there are some people that think he's a once in a generational player. And so
He's originally from West Palm Beach.
Okay. So, but I think it is too. I think the Browns probably are rebuilding,
Giants pick up Abdul Carter at 3, put him on edge on the other side of the ball from Kayvon Thibodeau, who they extended. They picked up his 5th-year option, so that's going to be a formidable pass rush for the next decade. But skipping all the way to 7 because that's where the Jets are. So at 7, they pick Armand Membou. And I'm going, I've never heard of this kid. And then I look up his stats, and this kid's incredible. This kid has come a long way from 2020. And he said, yeah, that was a reset year for me. And like things just started to click. And I guess he didn't surrender a whole lot of sacks last year. And this kid plays in the SEC. The SEC is arguably the toughest league conference in all of college football. So to not allow too many sacks in the SEC, you got to be really good. And this kid's supposedly really good. And then I saw what the lineup's going to look like for the season with the Jets offensive line. And it's made up primarily of former first round, and former second round picks. Because the left side, you got Olu Fashanu, you got John Simpson at left guard, Joe Tippmann, who was a second round pick 2 years ago. He's playing center. Elijah Bear Tucker, first round pick in 2021, right guard, and now Armand Membou, first round pick this year at right tackle. So to put it in the words of a current president, we're building a big, beautiful wall. It's in Gotham. It's a big, beautiful wall. And I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm loving this pick. So let me go to the second round.
All right.
And the Jets have some options here. I thought maybe they would trade back up into the first round and pick a quarterback. The Giants wound up doing that. They picked up Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Yeah. And on our Belly Up YouTube, on the Belly Up Twitter page, we have a live reaction of Nate, producer Nate, from Corner Booth. As soon as the trade was announced, they brought him back in to get his reaction because he was so sure that he was certain that Shedeur Sanders was going to go here. And when the Giants announced they took Jackson Dart, he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Because he said, if the Giants pick Shedeur Sanders, I'm going to go out and buy his jersey like right now. And they didn't. Mm-hmm. And now Shedeur Sanders is still waiting to be drafted. We'll talk about that momentarily.
Yes.
So the Jets had options at pick 42. They could pick up Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU. Mason Taylor, for those of you who don't know, is the son of Jason Taylor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Former edge rusher for the Miami Dolphins and your New York Jets. So he is his son. And at pick 73, they pick up Azarive Thomas, cornerback from Florida State. And I saw some criticism in the comments. By the way, never go to the comments section on Facebook or Twitter after the draft pick because we got a bunch of amateur GMs out there. It's a bunch of armchair GMs out there saying, this is a bad pick. We should have picked up this guy. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is why you're on Twitter, you're on social media, and not in the war room.
Yes.
Okay?
Exactly.
So sit down, shut up, let these guys do their job. But they picked up a cornerback from Florida State because they needed some cornerback depth. They lost DJ Reed, they lost Tony Adams, they lost Ashton Davis in free agency. So they need to pick up the slack. I would say get some more depth in the secondary. They picked up Azarive Thomas. That's fine with me. So now they got picks 110, 145, 162, 186, and 207. So they have a 4th round pick, 2 5th round picks, and 2 6th round picks for today. Curious to see who they pick up. As far as quarterbacks go, I hope they pick up Kyle McCord. from Syracuse, had a solid season last year after he transferred. After he was basically running out of town, running out of Columbus at Ohio State University, was running out of town after the loss to Michigan in 2023. Transfers to Syracuse, has a fantastic season, sets all sorts of passing records with the Orangemen. Sorry, the Orange. So, so I'm hoping they pick him up or another quarterback just to bring somebody into the fold. Even though their quarterback room is pretty much set right now with Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, who they picked up last year.
Yeah,
maybe just to have some competition. So that's my Jets. Grading this draft right now, I give it a solid B+ with the Jets.
Yeah, and it's tough because we're only grading the first 3 rounds. We have rounds 4 through 7 today, but I think obviously the first 3 rounds, there are plenty of picks that succeed in the later rounds, of course, but the first 3 rounds are what everybody is really focused on usually. So it's fine that we're grading after the first 3 rounds. It's our show and we can do what we want.
That's right. We do what I want. All right. So your Seahawks, Dustin, how do you feel about the first 3 picks of the draft?
Oh, well, I got to say, so when we did a while back, we had a guest on an episode of Seahawks Sessions, Jackson Bevins. He is more knowledgeable about the Seahawks than I will ever be. Go back into that archive on the Time to BS feed and check it out. But I think anybody who is a fan of the Seahawks, Kevin, Staniel, and we all were clamoring for the Seahawks to address the offensive line. We've been asking for it for years. We have been going off, OFT, as you said the other night on the show. We have been going off trying to plead with John Schneider to address the offensive line, and they finally did it at pick 18. They got a guard, the Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know a ton about Gray Zabel. We've been over it 1,000 times. I don't watch college football all that much, if at all. So I always have to go back after the picks are made and kind of figure it out based on what other people have to say about the player and everything else. But one thing that I saw, first of all, fans seem pretty happy about this pick. I am as well, but it's only because I now realized, I got Steve Hutchinson's thoughts on Gray Zabel, and he loves Gray Zabel as a player. And Steve Hutchinson is now he is a consultant for the offensive line with the Seahawks. Brilliant move. I mean, Steve Hutchinson drafted in 2001. And Gray Zabel, this is the highest that the Seahawks have ever picked a guard since that pick in 2001. And Steve Hutchinson is a Hall of Famer. He knows a bit about the position. So if he likes Gray, I love Gray, and I can't wait to see Hutchinson coach him up a little bit. So I think they did exactly what they needed to do at pick 18. Very excited with this pick.
Yep. And Kevin Wilson, fellow Seahawks fan, says Gray Zabel was a home run pick. Very pleased.
And you just might hear, spoiler, you may hear more from Kevin, Staniel, and I on the Seahawks draft very soon. But round 2, on that episode with Mr. Bevins, I said I think that the Seahawks uncharacteristically are going to use some of the picks. I asked the panel, I said, do you think that they will trade up with some of the picks that they have from the trades that they made, the Geno Smith trade, the DK Metcalf trade? And rather uncharacteristically for John Schneider, that's exactly what they did. They traded up and they got Nick Emanwari, safety. And it's very fitting that they draft a safety because we're going to talk about another safety when we get to our favorite 29s. Kevin, you know who it is. I just spoiled it. But, I really, again, I can't pretend that I know a ton about this player. All I know is that I was very pleased to see them trade up and be aggressive. And I think they went to go get one of the most talented players on the board defensively at that time. This could be a potential another home run. Lots of upside. I don't think safety was a pressing need for the Seahawks, but I think they just went for talent. And again, I think even though this is their second draft together, I think Mike Macdonald and John Schneider are figuring out together kind of how they want to be, because drafting the offensive line that high, very uncharacteristic for previous Seahawks regimes. And then they go for what I think was a talent-based pick and an upside-based pick. By trading up in round 2 to get pick number 35. And then we go, this is the puzzling pick for me. Elijah Arroyo, a tight end out of Miami. I wasn't expecting the Seahawks to go tight end. It just didn't seem like something they would do. I don't know enough about the player. I'm going to have to do some research. But this was the pick where I kind of scratched my head and said, I don't know if I see this here. But as with all draft picks, it is, the jury will be out. And as you pointed out, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I watched a video before the draft, and it said, just as a reminder, none of you know what you're talking about. And it showed a Chiefs fan who was very pissed off when the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes. And he's like, this is why this organization will never win a Super Bowl in my lifetime. So, and they had a compilation of like other people, Bills fans pissed.
3 years later.
Yeah.
3 years later.
It was pretty funny. So it's a reminder that I know nothing about football, even though I talk about it on a podcast. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know more than John Schneider and Mike Macdonald do.
Okay.
Clearly.
So I'm going to read you what ESPN wrote.
Yeah.
So this is for Steve Mensch from ESPN. Sorry to interrupt you though.
Mm-hmm.
Says Arroyo missed most of the 2022 and 2023 seasons with a knee injury, but he started all 13 games and averaged 16.9 yards per catch in 2024. He gets open, shakes defenders off at the top of the routes, finds windows in zone looks and uncovers when the quarterback scrambles. He catches passes in stride and can pull away when he gets a seam after the catch. Arroyo tracks the ball deep ball well and makes over-the-shoulder catches. He extends and catches passes away from his frame. He makes plays over the middle and holds on when taking a big hit. He gets stood up and shed at times, but he's competitive inline block. He's a competitive inline blocker. He covers and drives defenders in space. So there you go.
Okay. All right. And you have to wonder with specifically the mention of the blocking. That's going to be a big part of Clint Kubiak's zone block scheme, So who knows? Maybe that's what they were thinking. But I have to agree with Kevin's comment here. He says the Seahawks haven't had the best of luck with tight ends. Wide receiver was a higher need. I agree with you, Kevin. Our wide receiver depth is okay. All right. So there you go. And I'm going to defer to Kevin. Kevin watched a lot more college football than I do. So this was the pick where I'm kind of scratching my head. But round 3, pick number 92. I really like this one. The Seahawks, the pick announced by Sean Alexander, by the way. Shout out to you, Sean.
Episode 37 coming soon.
Yeah. The Seahawks went out and grabbed Jalen Milroe. Now, again, I don't watch enough college football, but even I know Jalen Milroe, partially because he played at Alabama. That's probably part of the deal. But I remember early draft projections. Some had him as the number 1 quarterback to go in the draft. But then as the season progressed, obviously things happened and he slid a little bit. But his athletic upside intrigues me. And I'm very happy that seemingly finally the Seahawks are at least thinking about the quarterback position and a possible successor for the first time since 2012. And we all know what happened the last time the Seahawks drafted a QB in the third round.
In the third round, yeah.
It worked out. And I'm not comparing the two, but Jalen Milroe, people that know more than I do, have said this is a possible tremendous upside pick. His athleticism is off the charts, his running ability alone. And we all know that with the new NFL, which has been this way for years now, you need a mobile quarterback back there. Most of the team, I mean, look at Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen can move more than people give him credit for. Patrick Mahomes, very strategic, moving. The era of the pocket passer, a pure pocket passer, is rapidly going away. And the Seahawks have Sam Darnold. He's a pocket passer. Sam's not moving back there, which is why I think they finally started addressing the offensive line more than they have in the past. And it makes me a little more angry because they didn't do it for Geno and they didn't do it for Russ. And they just took advantage of especially younger Russell Wilson. They said, well, he's mobile enough. He can get away. And then Geno, more mobile than people realize. Red zone interceptions aside, best of luck to you in Vegas, Geno. But Sam Darnold is a pure pocket passer, and I think this is a pure nod to the future, drafting Jamison Milroe. Now, there were some Seahawks fans clamoring for Shedeur Sanders at this pick, but like Ryan said, we're going to get to that. And I said in a chat that Staniel, Kevin, and I have going that I was very happy with this pick because it seems like they're finally addressing the future after years of Seahawks fans complaining about quote-unquote stopgap quarterbacks. Now, I think Geno was more than that. He proved that. I am a Geno Smith fan. I like his story. I like the way he came back and resurrected his career. That's what he did, and he played better than people will realize in Seattle. And I think they're going to realize Geno, we kind of dismissed Geno, and shout out to Kevin again. He's getting a lot of shouts this show. He said, I think this could mean that Sam Howell is on the street looking for a job. I agree with you, Kevin, with the signing of Drew Lock, all but confirms that for me. So, but Ryan, it's funny. You gave your Jets a B+, and that's exactly what I'm giving the Seahawks so far. The tight end pick confuses me. They took a big swing with Nick Emmanuri. I think that's going to work out, and I really love the first pick at 18 there on the offensive line. So B+ is what they get. I almost thought about the A, but the tight end pick was confounding enough to me. Knock it down to a B+.
So Jalen Milroe and Seattle Seahawks posted this on their Twitter account. Jalen Milroe on the teams that passed him, quote, belt to ass, unquote.
Oh, man. Oh,
yep.
All right. Hey, he's motivated. I like it.
He is motivated. Can't not say he's not motivated. But I think it'll see the thing about quarterbacks that they get taken later, they get the opportunity to sit and learn the game. And that's what Milroe's going to do. That is what some of these other quarterbacks who get drafted late are. Cam Ward, he's probably going to get thrown in the fire very quickly, or he'll play later in the season when the head coach of the Titans, I forgot his name. His name is escaping me, but it's an Irish name. But his name escapes me. He'll probably get sick of Will Levis in like week 7 and then put in Cam Ward, who, by the way, Warren Moon gave him permission to wear the number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay, Brian Callahan is the Titans head coach.
Yep. Thank you. Like I said, Irish name. And Jackson Dart will probably start somewhere near the end of the season when the Giants are out of it because and apparently Tommy Cutlets has requested a trade after the Giants didn't tell him he were going to draft the quarterback. So
oh no.
Oh no. It's all right. You got a home in Albany in case Sam Castronova gets taken by the CFL. And Kevin Wilson saying Milroe fits the Seahawks locker room better than Sanders ever would. So there you go. We got some more comments. Julie saying the Lions have yet to draft an edge, just a defensive tackle, O lineman, and wide receiver. Here's the thing, though. Aiden Hutchinson's coming back. They actually just announced they're gonna be what's the word I'm looking for? They're extending his 5th year option.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's 3 years in. He's already 3 years in. They're gonna activate his 5th year option. So he's probably gonna get a nice payday very, very soon. James saying Jihad Campbell should fit great in the linebacker heavy Eagle system, adding an Alabama man, to balance out our kennel of Bulldogs.
There's too much Bama in me.
Got that Bama in me. And Julie also saying wide receiver, really surprised being the Lions already have a very strong wide receiver core. That is true. And there was rumors out there that they were going to trade what's his face? Jameson.
Oh, Jameson Williams.
Yeah. There was also a ridiculous trade, a rumor that the Jets were shopping Breece Hall, which no,
I don't think so.
No. But we do have to address the elephant in the room, which would be Shedeur Sanders. Now, he was projected to be a first-round pick. Many were projected to be a first-round pick. Hey, Mel Kiper.
Yeah.
He was Mel Kiper's favorite quarterback. And once you saw Cam Ward get drafted, the trade happening between the Browns and the Jaguars, and lots of other surprise picks, including the Chicago Bears taking not Tyler Warren, but a Michigan tight end at 10. And by the way, congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts. You are getting Dallas Clark 2.0 and Tyler Warren.
All right.
So Shedeur Sanders, all this big hoopla around him, I would say mostly because of who his dad is, has this giant structure built with different different rooms for the draft. Does not get picked in the first round. So I figured, okay, there's some teams that could use a quarterback in the second round. Doesn't go in the second round. There's some teams that could use him in the third round. Does not. He's still on the board.
Yeah,
and there's wide amount of talk about why that is. And as Kevin said, biggest slice of humble pie I've ever seen. Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. But there are some conspiracy theories out there as to why he's still out there. Some are saying because of his attitude. Some are saying because of who his dad is. Some are saying because of his skin color, which Cam Ward was drafted number 1 overall. So that theory goes out the window.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of theories myself. Number 1, I got to ask, how bad was his pre-draft interview? How bad did he blow it?
It had to be bad because, and I'm not saying that this is always the case, and all the days of like test scores being made public and all that. We know the Wonderlic didn't always translate. Okay, no. If you got a bad Wonderlic score, there's plenty of quarterbacks that got a bad Wonderlic score that were fine after that, right? But there were so many articles saying how bad his pre-draft interviews went. And that is when his stock started to tumble. When there is that much smoke, there's got to be some fire to it. That's all I'm going to say. People were saying that he came off as arrogant, entitled, and teams don't want to deal with that sometimes. No. They don't want to. But you hit the nail on the head, so I'm going to let you speak on it. But we were talking in the green room before the show, and I said, I think part of it is coaches are afraid that Deion's going to come in and going to try to tell them, this is what you should do with my son. This is what, and look, we can't fault a father for wanting to be involved. It's human nature, right? He wants to do what's best for his son. But it would come with a lot of attractions and a lot of things that then teammates would have to deal with. They would have to be addressing it all the time. And especially if you're a new head coach, do you have fears that, maybe ownership starts listening to more of what Deion says, because Deion has relationships all over the NFL. I think that more than anything, his purported attitude during interviews, but also the ever looming presence of Deion Sanders. If you're Kellen Moore, because there was a lot of thought that he would maybe go to the Saints, that the Saints would draft him. If you're Kellen Moore and you're a first-year head coach and you're trying to establish your culture on this team, do you want to deal with that? I mean, I don't know.
No. And I said this in the green room. I think part of it, okay, so the race thing, throw that out the window, because look at the top 10 picks. 5 of them were black. 5 of them were white. So what? It's again based on need. My other theory is that whoever picks Shedeur Sanders, that would just basically tell the coaching staff who's going to be coaching him that you're in the hot seat, that you are going to be watched very closely, because if things would happen, things go south very quickly. Hey, Deion, you got a minute or two to take a call?
Yeah.
Deion Sanders could be brought in as the head coach of the team next year, because Shedeur, the only coach he really has had is his father, Deion.
Yep.
From Jackson State from high school to Jackson State, to then Colorado, his dad has been his only head football coach. And you don't want your coaching staff to think my job is on the line if I don't make this kid shine. Here's the thing, though. You could say in the interview that I can start immediately. You can say I've got talent I got all the talent in the world. You can say I'm a culture changer. You can say all the things that you want coaches to hear. Like, some coaches don't mind the arrogance factor, as long as you can back up.
Yeah,
you can back up your talk. Now, I understand Shedeur, very accurate passer, very talented, big arm.
Yeah,
but it's his attitude. It's his attitude. It's the entitlement. And Kevin's saying, I heard he talking about Shedeur Sanders. I heard he took calls while he was in interviews. Now, I can't back up that claim. Only sources from teams who he interviewed with will tell you that. So if it's true, then yeah, that's a big red flag, because that tells me that your mind is not focused on what's in front of you. It's focused on outside things. It's focused on your brand. It's focused on your trademarks, on the next big thing, on how I can market myself and not making the team first.
Yeah. And the thing is, it sets you up. And look, I'm not trying to impugn the kid for his personality. He's young. I did a lot of dumb things when I was young. I wish I could take back. But the thing is, I think you hit the nail on the head. Coaches and stuff don't mind. They're willing to deal with certain things if you can back it up. Deion Sanders, as vocal as he was, as loud as he was, as much of a talker as he was, teams were always clamoring for Deion Sanders, whether it be the Dallas Cowboys, the Atlanta Falcons, the San Francisco 49ers. Deion was that good that all the teams were willing, especially when he wanted to play 2 sports. He wanted to do that. That had to be a pain for both franchises, but he was talented enough to back that up. And so the team said, okay, fine, Deion, you want to do that? We'll let you do that, but you better be ready on game day. And here's the thing. He always was. Love or hate Deion Sanders. I know my uncle Al detests Deion Sanders. Can't stand him, but even he will acknowledge Deion Sanders extremely, extremely talented. And I don't know enough about college football, but Shedeur did not take the Colorado Buffaloes to the promised land in college football. And if you're sitting there and saying that you're a difference maker and a franchise changer, that all may be, but they're going to look at your college record and they're going to go back to the Bill Parcells quote, "You are what your record says you are."
Plus, I will also say this. He played 1 year. He played 2 years in FCS, which is a lower level.
Yep.
And he played 2 years at Colorado, which was a Pac-12 school. Now they're a Big 12 school. The competition, unlike the Giants taking a Jackson Dart, who played at USC and then transferred to Ole Miss and played 3 years there with Lane Kiffin, who runs a pro-style offense.
Yes.
He played all 3 years in a pro-style offense. Shedeur Sanders only played 1 year with Pat Shurmur as his offensive coordinator. So that experience tells me, yeah, I would rather take a Jackson Dart than a Shedeur Sanders, based on where he played, who he played against, what type of system he was playing. He was playing under. So why he's still there? We have our theories. We have our speculations.
Yeah.
James saying, I was genuinely surprised when Dallas didn't take Shedeur. Such a Jerry Jones move to make. I have a feeling that the Cowboys hid the phone.
Yeah.
like they did back in 2012 when Johnny Manziel was available.
No, that's the thing. Well, and also you don't want to. They extended Dak. Dak's got that huge contract, and if you put Shedeur behind him, it immediately starts the speculation. If, say Dak comes out and struggles the first 2 games, and Shedeur Sanders is back there, people are going to want Shedeur in there immediately.
Yeah,
so,
Skip Bayless is going to be like, get Shedeur Sanders on the field now. Julie also said they picked up his 5th-year option, referring to Jameson Williams. They picked up his 5th-year option, so it would seem weird that he would trade him, but who knows? I did some research while Dustin was vibing about Shedeur. Those rumors about those trade rumors on Jameson Williams were squashed by the GM, by Holmes. So you don't have to worry about Jameson Williams being traded. All right.
I was vamping about Shedeur.
Yes, you were vibing, whatever. It's a V word. All right, we've gone over an hour already, Dustin. So we got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll discuss the Albany Firebirds in Corpus Christi last night and talk about our favorite number 29s. So stick around, stay tuned, stand by for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Coffee that goes in this mug every morning is Invader Coffee. I've got the break in case of emergency blend. It's one of my favorite blends. They got a wide variety of blends, medium, light, dark. They've got the cold brew in cans. They've got ground. They've got whole bean. They've got ground coffee bags. They got K-cups. Whatever your heart desires in terms of your morning boost, they've got it. Guaranteed they've got it. Links in the description on the Facebook and on the YouTube side and the podcast side. That's our affiliate link. We have our own affiliate link. Helps out the show for every order that is made, but you can also save 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP. It comes to your door in a matter of days, and it comes to your door fresh. And unlike some of those other store brands that sit on the shelf for a long time, it's fresh. It's fresh. It's air roasted. None of that acidity, all that bitterness is taken out. None of that acidity exists. You can drink it black, and it's smooth as the day is long.
Delicious, delicious coffee. I'm drinking some right now. I'm drinking the Donut Dealer blend. I'm going to have to wait, it appears, to get another bag here.
Yes.
But I am savoring the last bit of Donut Dealer blend. The holiday blends are always great. Thanks to Ryan's generosity and being a man of his word, I have the pumpkin pecan blend still to open and enjoy, because that was the bag that you got me because of our Olympic bet there.
Yes.
And well, no, that was the beef
No,
jerky.
that was the Mendoza. The Mendoza,
the Mendoza line.
backstop
Yes.
challenge. Yes.
Yeah, Mendoza. But delicious coffee from Invader. I always enjoy it. If I worked from home, I would drink it every day. Unfortunately, sometimes I am forced to drink inferior coffee at the office. I'm just gonna put it out there. Invader, if you're listening, I would love a few more options on the K-Cup variety so that I can bring them to work with me. But I have a bag of the Invader blend, the OG blend, to enjoy. I will be cracking into that one once the Donut Dealer is gone. You're not going to be disappointed. If you haven't had this coffee, order it, give it a shot. It comes to you. You pay a little bit more for priority shipping, but using our affiliate link and the code BELLYUP at checkout helps offset some of that shipping cost. It gets to you right away. Invader's customer service is always great. So many reasons to try this coffee. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, it's veteran owned, veteran operated. Do you love your country? You love the veterans. You love the people who served our nation. Buy a bag of this coffee, and not only can you get the coffee too, you can also buy a bag of coffee for a deployed military member. They go through an organization called the Move America Forward Foundation, and they go through them to ship their bags of coffee to deployed military members. So you're not only supporting a veteran-owned business, you're also supporting people who currently serve and they'll be getting some great coffee. So, because the last thing you want when you're in the battlefield is a crappy cup of coffee. So again, affiliate link in the description. Buy some coffee. Buy the best coffee that your hard-earned money could buy, as that handsome voiceover man said. Best coffee your money could buy. 100% money back guarantee if you don't like it, but I guarantee you will like it, and you'll be supporting a veteran-owned business. And also, you'll be supporting the show using our affiliate link. And again, no credentials required. Seal of approval goes to you, Invader Coffee. Puppers approves. All right, we got to talk about this outrageous game last night that happened in Corpus Christi, Texas, between the Albany Firebirds and the Corpus Christi Tritons. Albany Firebirds made history last night, scoring 100 points in an arena football game.
Man. Triple edge.
Corpus Christi by the final score of 100-12. And let me tell you what happened. The scoring by quarter. 35-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Wow.
79-0 at halftime. 93-6 at the end of the third quarter. Final score 100-12.
Man.
But I did some back work.
Okay.
I was doing some research, real-time research during and before the show and during the show about this game. And apparently what happened was that the Corpus Christi Titans, a lot of their regulars sat out of the game because of an ownership dispute with several players, including former Albany Empire, Albany Firebirds, Darius Prince, and Dwayne Hollis, who currently play for the Corpus Christi now, Corpus Christi Tritons. And looking at this game, instead of the regular guys that the Firebirds thought they were going to face, the Tritons bring in replacement players. Now, I don't know where those replacement players came from, whether they're from other indoor leagues, but it was apparent that this game was going to be very different from what what was originally supposed to be going on. So, because coming into this game, Corpus Christi was 3-1. They were running a 3-game winning streak, playing very well. Was actually ranked, I believe they were number 2 in a lot of the Arena Football, or excuse me, AF1 polls, power rankings by some media members. But after this game, I don't know if it's the certainty with the ownership group not paying their players or not paying on time. They were accused. Ownership has been accused of not paying its roster, and this is the biggest problem for AF1. It's a big problem for Arena Football League last year, with ownership not paying players, and they were being forced to fold. This happened this year with AF1. 3 of the teams that were supposed to play, Orlando, Arizona, and I'm trying to remember who the third one is at the top of my head, but I can't remember. They're supposed to be part of the league. They were forced out because Orlando's ownership didn't agree with the financial structure of the league. And he said this a week before the season started. Arizona couldn't secure an arena. And I forgot what happened with the third team, or who the third team was. So right now we got 7 teams. Albany is going to play their next 4 games at home. They're currently 6-0. They're going to finish the season at home. The next 4 games at home. I presume they'll have a playoff game. If they run out the rest of the season, they're going to finish with a perfect record. Going through the article on Times Union, starting quarterback Sam Castronova took 3 starts. took 3 snaps.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game, Robert McCoy Jr., the backup, played the rest of the game, threw 7 touchdown passes. Markel Wade had 2 touchdown receptions and returned a kickoff for a score. The kicker, Henry Nell, scored 26 points by himself. He had 5 deuces. And what a deuce is that it's on a kickoff, if you put it through the uprights, that's a deuce. So it's 2 points right there. He had 6 drop kicks for PATs. So for extra points, if you get the snap, drop the ball, and kick it through the uprights, that's 2 points as opposed to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 2 traditional extra points. Also caught a 2-point conversion pass off a broken play from quarterback. And Sam Castronova, who is miles away right now, the MVP of AF1 for this season, took only 3 offensive snaps and appeared in the team's first series of the game. Firebirds' next home game is next Saturday. No, Sunday. Next Sunday, the 4th, against the Salina Liberty. This was just. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at the score. I'm shocked. I'm not just shocked only at the score, because it's professional football. You're being paid to play professional football. But it also tells me that if you're not committed to your team, if you're not committed to paying your players, if you're not committed to going the rest of the season and playing football, fulfilling your obligations, why are you an owner of a football team?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know the ownership group of Corpus Christi, why they would. So I guess there've been rumors for several weeks about the financial struggles, failing to play players, and the players, the regular starters, just sat out. And this is what Coach Damon Ware said after the game, and this is quoting from a Times Union article. Getting to the stadium, we're just kind of realizing there was a group of players that had just decided they weren't going to play. Obviously, there were some obligations that were missed, and that made them stand on what they believed in, and they felt that not playing was the right choice. I'm a coach, so none of that stuff makes any sense to me, but I understand that when obligations aren't met, you've got to do what you got to do. And Darius Prince, former Firebirds wide receiver, former Albany Empire receiver, posted on social media on Friday afternoon. He wrote, "God don't like ugly, nasty work. Can't respect anybody who moves like this. Hashtag it's over. And he also posted a story on his Instagram, letting people know that he sat out of the game. He's going to sit out tonight's game. So I have to dig into this a little bit more. I might have to make 10 good minutes on just arena football. AF1. This was ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know there was a lot of excitement when the league officially launched, and there was a lot of excitement around AF1 arena football, and then there were some owners who were extremely non-committal, and the former commissioner of the league, he basically just absconded, ran away. People are probably still looking for him, but there was optimism, at least on our part. I remember last summer, Ryan, when Jeff Fisher took over, we thought it would be a stabilizing presence, but it seems some of the turmoil from last year has spilled over a little bit, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're an owner of a team and you're not committed to, if you're not committed to playing the part of an owner, being responsible, getting the arena, paying your players, treating your players fairly. I know in Albany, friend of the show, Jeff Levac, team president, he says, we do everything in our power to keep the players happy. Yeah. And from every indication, Albany Firebirds, look at their record, 6-0. They're happy dudes, and they're winning, and it shows in the field. And yes, it's unfortunate that this score was dropped, but at the same time, if you're an owner of a team, pay your players.
Yeah.
This is unprofessional.
Come on.
Like, how are you a businessman? How are you a successful businessman? You pay your employees. If this is considered, you're considered an employee of an organization. If you decide, I want to be part of this organization, I want to be a football owner, and then all of a sudden you realize you get in over your head because of all the overhead costs with renting an arena, with travel, with equipment, with paying players, coaches, feeding the players, housing the players. If you don't come to that conclusion before you decide to jump in and become a sports team owner, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not prepared for being an owner and everything that comes with it, if you're just looking at a team as a shiny toy that you can show people when they come to town, don't do it. If you're not committed, the thing is, and we lob a lot of criticism Jerry Jones's way, and I think deservedly so, but you can't argue he wants to win. He does want to win. Does he make decisions that always reflect that? No, but Jerry Jones wants to win. There's no question about his commitment. I just rewatched the documentary, The House That Steinbrenner Built, the 30 for 30. And a lot of the feelings that fans had when the new stadium was built, it was funny to see that time machine. Those feelings are still there. And there's part of me that still misses the old Yankee Stadium. But in spite of everything George Steinbrenner did, you could not argue he wanted to win badly. He wanted to. The New York Yankees bringing championships to New York meant everything to Steinbrenner. In spite of his flaws, that's the type of owner that you want, and the commitment should be the same for the Arena League owners. And obviously, team president of the Albany Firebirds is a friend of the show, but it is clear, like you said, Ryan, from their record and from everything else around it, they are taking this very seriously, which is, you can't say that about every owner in this league. And I wish that we could have Jeff Levac on the show to talk about it. He would not be able to get into specifics, I wager.
No.
But I wish in an alternate world, I wish he could,
Yeah. Oh, the other franchise that was supposed to play this year but got kicked out was Wilkes-Barre.
Oh, okay. All right. I was trying to find it. I was reading a very long Wikipedia article.
I'm on the inside. I'm on the Inside the Walls Network Discord, so I had to look very quickly. And it's man, I feel for the players who wanted to play but couldn't play or chose not to play. I understand the circumstances, but at the same time, it's like you need to do you need to make sure you have stable ownership, and this league has had its troubles with securing stable ownership last year and this year, and it's unfortunate because arena football is a great game. I love arena football. I've loved arena football since I was 10 years old, watching it on ESPN. So, and having the Albany Firebirds and then the Albany Empire being in town, it's a great league. It's a great sport, and I just feel bad that owners who just want a team in town for the sake of having a team in town because it makes them look great, sell snake oil to the rest of the league to make themselves look good, and now we see the result that you see in the byline right here. It's sad. It's sad. Well, we're going to move on to a happier topic to conclude the show. Our favorite athletes to wear the number 29. And Dustin, I'm going to have you lead off here because I'm going to play because you told me to get this button ready. And here it is. Homer alert for his favorite athlete to wear the number 29. So I'll have you lead off with your favorite athlete to wear the number 29.
This was an easy pick for me, and I know some Seahawks fans are probably going to get sour at me with the way that things ended with this player's tenure in Seattle. But to me, Earl Thomas, I know that Cam Chancellor, and I know, the Legion of Boom. To me, Earl Thomas was the center of that, and he was really one of the first building blocks towards that. And I remember all the way back when the Seahawks had that 9th overall pick in the first round, and you're wondering who they're going to go with. And they take him out of Texas, safety, Earl Thomas. And I remember one of my coworkers, because everybody knows, anyone that knows me, I'm known for a couple of things. Whether you love me or hate me, people are always shocked that I'm a Seahawks fan in New York, and I'm the only Seahawks fan a lot of people know. So they always text me when anything happens regarding the Seahawks. And I remember the vice president at work texting me, and she just said, a safety with about 4 question marks. But Earl Thomas proved to everybody how good he was. And for the majority of his career in Seattle, I loved the way he carried himself. Earl Thomas was quiet. He went about his business. He took care of business. He was the last line of defense. He very rarely got beat. Earl Thomas was a man, a real player, just amazing athlete. And he is the only Seahawks jersey of the modern era that I ever got, was an Earl Thomas jersey. He was my favorite Seahawk for a number of years. Now, you can't argue that his career in Seattle did not end well. He got injured. He flipped off the sideline. That was not a fine moment. Also, there was the time that he purportedly, after a game against the Dallas Cowboys, he went down to the Dallas Cowboys locker room and whispered to, I believe the head coach was Jason Garrett at that time, but I don't know. And Fox microphones picked it up. He said, "Come get me." There was clearly a rift between the Seahawks at that time, Pete Carroll, John Schneider, and ownership, and Earl Thomas. The way it ended, it didn't end great. His years in Baltimore were tumultuous for a bunch of reasons. There was, if I remember, there was some domestic dispute allegations and things of that nature. Not a great look for Earl at the end, but for the majority of his Seahawk career, he was quiet. He went about his business. He took care of business. I loved watching Earl play. Still one of the most athletic safeties I've seen. Always had a soft spot for Earl Thomas. And it was nice to see that he was back in Seattle on the radio this week leading up to the draft. And it's kind of, it's funny, as I knew I was going to select Earl Thomas. As soon as episode 28 ended, I said, I don't even have to think about 29. Earl Thomas is my guy. And the Seahawks draft a safety in the draft. It's kind of things are lining up, and they also draft a quarterback in the 3rd round. Are we going to repeat 2012? I'm not going to make those parallels, but it is kind of funny to see it. And like I said, I know that there were some bumps in the road, but it's nice to hear that Earl was back in Seattle and talking Hawks a little bit leading up to the draft. Shout out to Earl Thomas, my favorite number 29.
My favorite number 29, and I had to do some digging around for this because I couldn't think of any athletes from my favorite teams that stuck out of my mind that wore number 29. Then I looked it up, and I'm going, who wore number 29 that I could think of? Eric Dickerson.
Oh, there you go. That's a great 29.
That is arguably the greatest 29 in my mind.
Yeah.
To wear that greatest player to wear that number. From the moment he stepped onto a football field at SMU, and if you watch Pony XS, the 30 for 30 was one of my favorite.
That's a great one.
One of my favorite 30 for 30s. One of the first ones to come out was about those SMU teams that basically, at the time, they were doing NIL before NIL ever existed. 40 years before the fact, paying off players, paying players, buying their services, getting them to come to SMU and play for that program. But the moment he stepped onto the football field, I mean, his college numbers were ridiculous. So, as a freshman, ran for 477 yards. Sophomore, 928 yards, only a handful of yards from getting 1,000. Then they instituted the Pony Express in 1981 and 1982. Ran for 1,428 yards in 1981, 1,617 yards in 1982. So for a total of 4,450 yards during his college career, was averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Now, we talk about the 1983 NFL Draft, another great 30 for 30, narrated by the great Tom Selleck and his wonderful mustache.
Yeah.
There was other drama. There was drama other than the quarterbacks, because that was widely known as one of the great quarterback drafts in NFL history. Outside of the drama unfolding around John Elway and also Dan Marino, who, like another quarterback in this draft, dropped like a stone.
Yeah. Because of rumors that he was using drugs and stuff, which his roommates, he wasn't doing any of that.
Yeah, Jim Covert, his roommate and his teammate said, we denied those allegations. He never did. He was not doing cocaine. He's not doing anything like that. Like, the dude was like a straight shooter. But the other drama that unfolded during the 1983 draft was around Eric Dickerson. The Houston Oilers had the number 2 pick in the draft. And his family said they did not want him playing for the Oilers. Eric Dickerson was like, that'd be cool to play for the Oilers. That's fine. But he also came out and said, I would also not play for the Baltimore Colts. So the Rams made a trade. They picked him up at number 2. And he proceeded to have the best 4 years of his rushing career. As a rookie, led the league in rushing with 1,808 yards, won Rookie of the Year that year, was also an All-Pro. The next season breaks the 2,000-yard mark and breaks the mark and establishes the mark that still stands today for rushing in the NFL with 2,105 yards. 2 years later, 1986, again, leads the league in rushing, 1,821 yards. Had a paltry 1,234 yards in 1985. Cooled off just a bit.
Geez, what happened?
I know, right? But then in 1987, gets traded to the Indianapolis Colts, and in 1988, leads the league in rushing, 1,659 yards. Has a bit of a tail off in his career, gets traded to the Raiders, then gets traded to Atlanta, and finishes his career in Atlanta. But he is currently, and we talked about this on Tuesday's show, he is currently 9th on the all-time list with 13,259 rushing yards. Absolute. If you happen to watch him, if you just watch highlights of Eric Dickerson, how he ran, how he was not only evasive, but also could power through guys. Like, that dude was just incredible on the field. And from all the way from the Pony Express offense of FSMU, breaking into the league, he also, according to Wikipedia, also considered playing for the Los Angeles Express of the USFL because they were doing higher paydays back then for rookies coming out of college. But decided to stick with the Los Angeles Rams. Had his greatest years, the greatest 4 years of rushing, probably in NFL history, based on those stats that I gave, according to Pro Football Reference. But it was absolutely electric on the field. I remember the day he was traded from the Rams to the Colts, how big of a deal that was at the time. And he led the league in rushing in 1988. So, Hall of Famer, Eric Dickerson, Hall of Famer, both in Pro Football Hall of Fame and the College Football Hall of Fame based on his years at SMU. Great running back. Absolutely outstanding to watch on the field. Incredible. Just go watch Eric Dickerson highlights and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. And again, he did not meet the criteria for me because I didn't watch him play. I wasn't watching football regularly back then. But yeah, you go look it up and he just jumps off. He jumps off the film. You know, it's obvious how good he was. Yeah, he was. And mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to talk about MSG Network possibly avoiding bankruptcy, maybe sold to the Yes Network. We'll talk about that on Tuesday because we're running out of time. We're at 1 hour 35 minutes. Sorry,
we got a little carried away. It's how the Saturday brunch goes. You know, that's how it goes sometimes in the show. But in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. But if you wouldn't mind doing us a solid and follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, search for No Credentials Required. Give us a follow there. Also, check out our other podcasts and written articles on bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you follow podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, and Pandora. And also, don't forget to hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when we're live, when you have video clips go up, and when you have regular general show announcements go up as well. On the podcast side, once again, rate, review, comment, 5-star rating, leave us a review wherever if you review podcasts, and leave us a comment on Spotify. Also, if you're watching on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, subscribe there, like the video, leave us a comment about which restaurant you always wanted to go to, grade your team's draft so far, and also leave us your favorite athletes to wear the number 29. So there you go. All right. This will do for the Saturday brunch edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need to press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll be back on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
Good morning, everybody.